So thanks everybody for being here. Today in Navigating the Spirit World, I'm going to be sharing an introduction, a basic introduction to shamanic spirit medicine and to how we use shamanic healing, shamanic journey work to help re-script ourselves in order to live a higher functioning and more empowered life. And then eventually how we use those same techniques to help others, to heal themselves, and how we can use those techniques to step into our roles as caretakers and custodians, guardians of the web of life, to help shift consciousness so that we as humanity become caretakers of the web of life and inspire others to do the same. So I want to talk first about dreaming and the shamanic journey. When a number of years ago, when my daughter was in 4th grade, she was still a little kid, 10 years old, and the teacher invited me to come in and to teach shamanism to the class, to teach shamanic journeying to this group of 4th graders. It was great. They were very open. There was one little girl who had a hard time journeying and then eventually found her penguin power animal, and it was really empowering for all of them to learn how to get in touch with their spirit minds. And so I said, sure, of course I'll be happy to do that. And then I reviewed my course notes, which were written for adults. And I thought to myself, oh boy, I've got to rewrite this for kids. How am I going to do that? And what I realized was I needed to find an experience that everybody could relate to. Every single person could relate to. And that experience is dreaming. Everybody has had a dream. All of us has had a dream. And like shamanic journeying, it's very hard to explain what dreaming is, or it would be very hard to explain what dreaming is if we were to try to explain it to somebody who had never had a dream before. In other words, if I was to say, I was dreaming and then all of a sudden I left my home in Hawaii and I was eating pizza in New York, and the next thing I know, I was at this wonderful hot spring in Japan at an onsen, and then I was in the Amazon jungle. And then I woke up and then I was back in my bed and it all happened in 10 minutes. People would be like, you couldn't do that if they didn't have a basis of what a dream was, right? You can't do that. But of course, in your dreams, you can. And so that's what happens in our shamanic journeys. We're able to travel in the spirit world and move our awareness outside of our physical body, outside of physical space and time. That makes sense to everybody? Yeah. Okay. So when the body sleeps and the mind travels through the spirit world without constraints of the physical body, we call this experience dreaming. That's without shamanic journeying, just regular dreaming. Lucid dreaming is when the dreamer knows that they are dreaming. So it's the experience of knowing that we are dreaming while we are dreaming. And I'm trusting that a number of you have had that experience of being in a dream and then becoming aware while you're dreaming that, oh, wow, I'm dreaming. That's a lucid dream. Some people can control their actions within their dreams. They can command themselves to look at their hands or to fly or to visit a friend. Shamans call this ability commanding the dreaming attention. We can also learn to command our dreaming attention in a fully waking state by learning how to travel in the dream time as a shaman. And we call that skill shamanic journeying. So the dream time is a word that's used by Aboriginal people in Australia to describe the experience of consciously traveling in the spirit world without the constraints of the physical body. The ability to enter the dream time is common to all human beings. This is something we can all do. Okay, we all have the ability to do this. And it can be cultivated with mindful practice. So not only is it something we can all do, but when we practice it, we get better at it, just kind of like math, except it's using a different part of the brain. When pursued with clear intent, Dreamtime's experiences lose their seemingly random and at times intrusive nature and become more powerful sources of profound healing. And what I mean is that by saying that, is that if we regularly pursue moving into the dreamtime state and shamanic journeying for purposes of healing and personal growth or helping others, just talk about ourselves right now, just healing and personal growth, self-healing and personal growth, then the urgency of the spirit world to contact us randomly in our days day-to-day life, or to poke in our dreams in a profound way, becomes reduced because we're getting the messages already. We're already getting the messages. We're being proactive about it. We're saying, what message does spirit have for me? What do I need to know today in order to pursue my personal growth, my healing, my spiritual development? That makes sense to everybody. So we can be proactive with this and we can learn it. Okay. And traditionally, in a spiritually advanced society, every member of that society had that ability, but not every member of that society was a medicine person. Okay. Because if you're living in a tribal group of, let's say, 40, 60, 80 people in a band, in a clan group, okay, you can't have uh, 40 or 60 shaman, because someone's got to hunt, someone's got to look after the kids, someone's got to build the houses, someone's got to gather the berries and the tubers, and there's all sorts of stuff to do day by day. So traditionally, if you were in that situation, living in a group like that, in a clan group, the two or three or one, two or three, depending on the size of the clan group, people who showed the most adeptness and natural gifts in this realm of the spirit world would become and be trained to become the medicine people. But that didn't mean that other people didn't also have that techniques, whether they were hunters or warriors or moms or people around the fire or gatherers or builders in the tribe. They all knew this stuff. Okay, so this is what we're trying to do, is to bring back this awareness to our society, to our present day modern society, so that we can function more in harmony with ourselves as a community and with Mother Earth around us, to live in right relationship with the earth around us and the world around us, with Mother Nature. So what's a shaman exactly? A shaman is someone who uses the dream time to journey to non-physical worlds in an altered state of consciousness, and then returns to normal waking consciousness at will. And this part about returning at will to normal waking consciousness is extremely important. Okay? We must be able to not just journey, but also to return. Okay? If we're out there in an altered state of consciousness all the time, that's not um, that's not shamanism. That's something else. It could be schizophrenia. It could be another psychological disorder. It could be drug use. It could be split personalities. It could be possession. It is most definitely not shamanism. Shamanism is an empowered state of ability to be able to switch back and forth between different states of perception, different levels of consciousness on a day-to-day basis, a moment-to-moment basis. Okay. And the way we do that is by learning how to change our brainwave state consciously. So meditations, which is common throughout all cultures, all religions, some have some form of meditation, whether it's walking and moving meditation or seated meditation or standing meditation or lying down meditation. Okay, all these different forms of meditation are used to quiet the mind, to help to prepare the mind to enter into a state of spiritual perception. Unfortunately, as we have complicated things more and more in modern life, we've lost sight of what the actual use and goal of meditation is, and it's become an end in of itself. And sure, it's great for stress relief and to relax, but there's something else that's beyond simple meditation. Okay. It's a preparation that allows us to switch into a different brainwave state and to travel in the spirit world. Okay. To enter the dream time. And this is silencing the thinking mind or quieting the internal dialogue. Okay. Once that happens, that's a signal that we're starting to down cycle back into theta wave state that is going to allow us to access the spirit world more effectively. Okay.